And a retired police captain faces second-degree murder charges. Police say 71-year-old Curtis Reeves shot and killed a moviegoer for texting during the previews. The police report says Chad Olson, the victim, threw a bag of popcorn at Reeves, who then took out a semi-automatic gun and shot and killed him.
Reeves told police that Olson had hit him with an unknown object. The judge denied bond to Reeves and found probable cause for a murder charge. We want to get some perspective on this from a local attorney who represents victims of gun violence. So joining us this morning is John Phillips. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Vic. Good morning, Kamasi.
Well, just initially, when you hear about this circumstance, what goes through your mind?
You know, it's another shooting. I mean, we've had 3 in a row in your report. You know, this one over a popcorn fight and texting. You know, we've had one locally over loud music and shoes. You know, we're just getting out of control.
What do you think when you hear, though, about this popcorn being thrown at this person and I saw this unknown object? Is there some ground for self-defense when we hear about something like that happening?
Certainly, and he's going to make and already has started making in the public the stand your ground case. And you know, we've got to get to the point where we start resolving arguments with arguing, you know, instead of shooting. And that's unfortunately what stand your ground is doing, is creating an entitlement under the law to shoot first and ask questions later. And so we're seeing more of these incidents.
So, John, do you think that this stand your ground statute and the Florida law here is actually making more incidents, more violence, when it's really supposed to help people out?
My phone calls in my office have increased, you know, tenfold on these cases, because what we're seeing is an entitlement to kill. You know, it's one thing for the Castle Doctrine and to protect your home or to protect yourself from known violence, but when you're creating an argument and then all of a sudden somebody reaches for their pocket or you don't see their hands and you start shooting, that's creating a problem. And whether it resolves in an immunity hearing or whether it, you know, goes all the way to the jury instructions like Zimmerman did, where stand your ground is mentioned, you know, that's what we're seeing is these cases are just, you know, there's an out.
So if you're an attorney prosecuting Reeves, how do you begin to combat his self-defense claim?
Just with what they've done, you know, charge second-degree murder, you know, show that he left the theater, left that particular theater and came back. Yeah, I guess he was telling the manager. And there's some history with this gentleman, Mr. Reeves, with complaining and instigating other customers in that theater. So, you know, you put together the whole story, and, you know, the average person can understand popcorn and texting does not equal gunfire.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Mr. Reeves, if the reports are true, was not at risk of really getting seriously injured. I mean, how would his defense attorneys argue in his favor?
You know, the standard of stand your ground is whether you're in reasonable fear that great bodily harm or a forcible felony is coming to you, and it's a subjective test. Excuse me. It's a question of what he believed at the time, and just like Michael Dunn, the question is going to be, where was his mind at before he started shooting? And Reeves is going to say, I thought he was about to pull out a gun, or I thought he was going for some way to, you know, to end my life.
And I guess the good part in this case is there were a lot of witnesses. There are a lot of people that can tell detectives and tell prosecutors what really happened, right?
Certainly. There's a theater full, plus, you know, his wife actually suffered a pretty severe hand injury trying to go and protect him, and you know, she was right there and she can testify, and you know, there was some prior history with this gentleman.
Awesome. We thank you so much for joining us this morning and offering your perspective. Thank you.